Hello, my name's Glenn Jackson and welcome to our look at the referees' decisions out of round 3 of the Telstra Premiership. We're joined as always by Tony Archer, the referee's elite performance manager. A lot to talk about from this weekend, so we'll get straight into it.
Well, Tony, we'll get to straight to the Penrith Roosters match, the Dallin Watine-Zelezniak no try decision. What were your thoughts on that one?
Yeah, that was a decision made in live time by the referee. His live decision was no try. He was of the opinion that the ball was dropped in the process of attempting to score the try. It was sent up to the video referees, and these calls the video referee needs to have sufficient evidence to overturn it. He viewed a number of angles. It was a very close call, but in those circumstances, they were of the opinion that there wasn't sufficient evidence to overturn it.
There was a similar one on Friday night, the Manly game, Steve Matai. He was given a try under those circumstances. Under similar circumstances, can you run me through your thoughts on that particular try?
Yeah, obviously in relation to grounding type video checks, they're very, very close calls. They're very debatable. In those circumstances, the referee's live decision was no try. I'm of the opinion that there was not sufficient evidence in these circumstances to overturn it. But in saying that, there is an angle that shows that the ball is very, very close to the ground. The two video referees that processed that believe that there was sufficient evidence to overturn and did it. I'm of the opinion that there's not sufficient evidence.
Can you talk about this process? The coaches last night, Trent Robinson, Ivan Cleary, both supported the process around video referee referrals, but there has been a bit of talk over the weekend, given these two decisions, controversial decisions. What are your thoughts on that process? Are you comfortable with this process of a referee having to make a call first?
Yeah, I think we should encourage the referees to make a live decision. Prior to 2013, we had a system where it was sent up to the video referee purely for a decision. Quite often, there was either a benefit of doubt applied to a decision because of the fact of the angles and the difficulty and the complexity of these decisions, and/or there was a ref's call, which was where they were unable to conclude a decision one way or the other, and it reverted back to a referee to make a decision at the end of the process. The system now encourages the referee to make a live decision. He's in the best position to make that decision. He's generally the closest person to the ball when it's being grounded, or a decision in relation to obstruction. So I encourage the referees to do it. It then becomes a review process where there is a sufficiency test, where there needs to be enough evidence to overturn or confirm the live decision.
So Saturday, Canberra against St George Illawarra, Blake Austin from the Canberra side was denied a try for a double movement. What were your thoughts on that one? Was that the correct call?
Yeah, that was a ruling of a double movement. In relation to that, the referee made a live decision of no try. Blake Austin was tackled short of the line. He promoted the ball into the in goal. That constitutes a double movement because the natural momentum of that tackle did not end up in the in goal.
Now in the Gold Coast Newcastle game, Dane Gagai scored a try there. Corbin Sims got a touch to the ball, but it was ruled to be a knockback. What's your call on that one?
You've had an opportunity to review that one. I believe there's sufficient evidence to overturn that. The ball hit Corbin Sims' right hand. The ball travels forward across the ground. Despite the fact that Corbin Sims stepped forward and was in front of the ball, to constitute a knock on, the ball is able to travel forward across the ground. That means that it's a knock on. It should have been overturned.
Another one which caused a bit of talk over the weekend were players walking off the mark. There were a number of instances, certainly in the Friday night game, Manly against the Bulldogs, where there were players who were brought back to the mark after walking off the mark. Was there any sort of crackdown or edict to the referees to crack down on that practice?
There was no crackdown or edict on the player walking off the mark, but it's certainly something that we've noticed in the trials and a little bit in the first couple of rounds of the competition. An option for the referee in these circumstances is to send the player in possession back to play the ball. That's if the markers have not realigned and they're taking an unfair advantage. I've reviewed the ones out of the Friday night game. There's a couple that should not have been sent back. The referee should have just played on because the markers had realigned and there was no disadvantage. In two of the cases, they should have been sent back and were correctly sent back by the referees.
Finally, Tony, plenty of talk pre-season and in the early rounds about the interpretations around the ruck. Have you noticed any trends? It's obviously early days, but have you noticed any trends in that regard in the opening 3 rounds of the competition?
Yeah, probably one that we just spoke about, the players walking off the mark. As I said, that was something that we saw in the trials and also on occasions in the early parts of the round. It may well be a byproduct of the players releasing quicker. Certainly over the first 3 rounds of the competition, there's only been 17% of the penalties given in the ruck area for pools, but there has been an increase in crowding and hand on the ball. That also might be a byproduct of what has been players being quite compliant in areas of releasing, and it has resulted in play the ball speeds increasing for fast play the balls and a decrease in slowing play the balls. But as I said, it's only been 3 rounds. We need to continue to monitor that and see where it takes us.
Thanks for your time, Tony.
Thanks, Glenn.